All right, take three. Sorry, I this is my third attempt. I'm miserable in recording things. I'm passionate about woodworking, and I really want to record my journey, which I have hand tool woodworking. I've started like since 2 years. I've been struggling to record these things. I tried recording one session and two sessions actually. I messed it up both the times. I hope this time it's going to work. So basically, like what I'm trying to do right now is planning to make a couple of dovetail boxes. These are as per Paul Seller's shaker candle box model. So this is one I had made like almost a year back, which came out very nice. This is what I'm going to planning to make. This is for like Christmas gift for a couple of kids. So I'm planning to make two of those. These one I made using 3/4 inch stock that I got from Home Depot. Uh, they're very like hefty. They're really good, but quite heavy. So this time around, exactly similar measurement, but I have thinned it down to like half an inch around that. I'm again dimensioning using hand tools, and I used a bandsaw to thicken to uh, resaw it. Uh, so I'll be doing this thing, but let me keep it aside. So in my first recording, actually, I had followed the initial processes to actually go over the things how I made this first joint. Because I'm doing it again, what I will do is the initial part I'm going to show it on the other piece that I have, like the second box, just to show you just to demonstrate what I really did, and then I will move over to the first one. So here all the pieces I have this face mark and the we call it face edge mark, meaning like these are my registration surfaces. I want to keep those outside, and let me align which ones do I want, which ones how do I want it to be aligned. This one I haven't planed, by the way, so yeah, I have to do some work here. Let me see. So basically, like let's say I want to keep it this way, and then these two sides, this way. So first thing what I do is just mark these two like a triangle, just showing that this goes this way, and then another triangle here. So after I do that, what I'm going to do is like do the rough marking on the outside faces, where I'm like going to do my dovetails. I bring my combination square. So this is the temporary mark I do. So here I will put this thing, feel with my fingers like this is flush. I do the pencil mark here. Same thing I do on all the faces, so that these are my rough mark to like temporary mark to when I'm sewing the dovetails and the pins. But then eventually I will be doing those with a marking knife. I did it on all the pieces, and then I did the first dovetail. Now I have done the same thing on all of those on my first box that I'm planning. So let me put this aside because I am yet to dimension this on one side. So I don't think I can proceed too much on this one right now, as of now. So I'll just move it so that I don't get confused, which I easily seem to do. So here, another thing I've done is I marked like A and this side A, so that these are the two adjoining pieces, B, and this one comes as B. So let me try to do the C side here. So this way. So as you can see, I have already marked this with my pencil. And one more thing I had done is I have marked my uh, I'm going to have two dovetails. What I did was put the ruler. I have put like full size pins on the end. So I want full size pins on the end. So I took like 3/8 inch from either side, and then I found the center, and 3/16 on either side of the center gives me a 3/8 again on the middle. So that gives me like a dovetail size of 1 1/4, two dovetails of 1 1/4. So that's what I did. So after I marked it on one of those, I picked up like the other end, transferred it to the other piece. Now to verify that I have truly centered it, don't trust my math that much these days. So I just rotate it this side. If they line up perfectly or pretty close, that means I did pretty good there. Now I say like lining up perfectly is not as critical, but we want to shoot for that because we want everything to be symmetric, equal size dovetails and pins. So we want to shoot for that. But then what I'm going to do is I want to cut my pin specific to the respective dovetail. So even if I uh, alter slightly, it's not going to impact the quality of the joint in any way. But having said that, we want to shoot for perfection, equal sized dovetails. So, and then again, rotate, transfer it to other side. So every side I already have the dovetail aspects marked. So this is the side C. I'm going to the outside face. We put it here. I don't know which side it is more visible. And yeah, I also made these like dovetail templates. Again, Paul Sellers design. I really love using these. Before this, I had already invested on a Veritas dovetail markers, which are really nice. But anything, any tool or any jig that you make by yourself, they are so much more valuable. So I always use the ones that I made. I made a set of three, like 6, 7, and 8 dovetail ratio. I'm using the 7 here for no reason. It's just like in the middle. I mean, there is a some rule or like an unsaid rule, I believe, that softwood you need like a higher rake angle, like a 6 ratio, because like they are softer, you need that angle to hold it together. But it's okay, like glue strength and dovetail strength are strong enough. So whatever looks good to your eyes, just go for that. I'm going to mark which sides I'm going to saw out or chop off, because we always tend to make mistakes, especially as beginners. Now I'll use a dovetail saw. This is a Veritas 14 TPI one that I had like initially invested in. Really good for this budget, unless you want to go like invest in like a Lee Nielsen bad axe tool or something. Obviously they are nice, but super expensive. This one works pretty well. And 14 TPI, 17 TPI. I believe they have a 17 or 19 TPI, which I'm sure that will be perform better for dovetails, but it's as good. It's as much difficult to sharpen those. I'm learning to sharpen my saws, so 14 TPI is good for me, and I've got pretty good results. So here, let me see. Yeah. So I'll try to cut on the waist side of the line, as close to the pencil line, but still on the waist side. First, I'm trying to get the rub the saw. I want to hold it loose, rub it, and get the straight line on this one, like on the top, straight. Then I clear this thing, and then I will concentrate on more on the angle of the dovetail. Again, cutting on the waist side. I stop barely over the pencil line, actually a little bit over, almost a 16th over the pencil line. I keep my body position is already aligned to this angle, so I go for the next one. Same thing. So it's more like rubbing to get it started rather than trying to cut it. And I keep the thumb here so that it doesn't jump off, which has happened to me before. And I am pulling this piece of first thing I have clamped it low in the vise so that there is less vibration, but still like I try to pull this in towards me so that that also minimizes the vibration. Very soft grip. I let the saw do the work. Don't try to force too much and then it's going to make it messy. Now I go to the other side. When I'm saying that I want to cut on the waist side, it means I want to be able to see the pencil line after I have like cut the sawn the dovetails. That's the goal. Now, having said that, um, even if I mess it up a little bit, let's say I split the line, which I don't want to do, because if I split the line, like I'm not consistent with the cuts, it's going to change the size of the dovetails. It's not going to keep it consistent. So I want to like be consistent here. But having said that, even if I mess up something here, uh, it's not going to matter the strength of the joint or quality of the joint, because I'm going to cut my pins according to the dovetails. Great thing about hand tool woodworking, I have complete control here. I think, as I was saying, I almost split the line, but no, I think I did pretty good. So as you can see, so here I am on the waist side of the line, on the waist side of the line, waist side, here also on the waist side, same almost here. So I'm happy with that. Now I have to go with the more permanent mark. I'll use the marking knife. Now, to be even more accurate, like I could just use it like this to measure it, but like because of my level of expertise and humanity, I may have, this may not be very consistent. So I know that this is going to go this way. So if I put it this way, bring this my combination square in like this, feel with my fingers on the outside part, it's flush. Now I use the marking knife. A light pass first and then a little bit heavier, and the third one is very heavy. Light pass, heavier, very heavy. One thing I should have told and I should have done, which I forgot, is that I registered on this side. Now if my stock is very square, then this won't matter, but really this is the face edge mark, so I should have registered from the other side. We'll see, like if the things align properly, then I would know. Now this is the back side of the box, so I can mark it like end to end, but just to build a habit within myself, I will still do this thing. Like, now if my stock is square, when this last one, both the points should exactly align, and they do. So I was lucky, maybe, or maybe yeah. So now the first thing I will do is cut off the end pieces. Get a wider chisel. This is a 3/4. Build the step down, knife wall, whatever we call it. Flick it off. Now I don't want to go and weaken the dovetail, so maybe there is a little bit here left. In the initial days, I used to keep these pieces just so I may need to do some patch up work. I don't need really. Again, I'm sawing from outside to inside so that the bruising, any bruising is left on the outside. So I'll make the step down here, but then I'm going to saw from the other side. Now I have to chop the centerpiece. This looks like one big dovetail. So now I take a chisel that is close to that size. Let's see, can I fit this one? Let me take a smaller one. This one, 3/16, I believe. I can probably use the wider chisel uh, to chop down vertically. So I'll use that. I start like a hair, not right on the knife wall, but like a 16th or a 32nd beyond that, just to this, as Paul Sellers explains, is like consolidates the end grain or wall, and then I go right up against the wall. I go lightly because these are the initial chops, and I haven't established any depth. So if I jump too hard, it may push the knife wall. It will impact the accuracy. Same thing on this side, little bit away from the wall, then right up against the wall. Still I go light. Once I have like established a little bit depth, I can pound on it slightly harder. Just flick it in, because this is like the wood has already like split. It's the property of the wood. And also one thing that Paul Seller does is, like, instead of going straight in, which I can do here because I have there is enough space, but if I angle it in from this side and from the other side, it works much better. This time maybe I can go a little bit heavier. I don't want to go too heavy as of yet. As soon as I hear that dead sound, I don't want to pound on it further. I'm not trying to force it to lift that piece of wood too much. I don't need to. It's going to, if it is like still stuck, it's going to come out in the next chop. Uh, if I force it too much, it's it may break this off. So yeah, I don't want that. Tell me how I know about this. Yeah, now I can go a little bit harder, definitely. always like clamp the workpiece on the vise. Safety, never like try to hold it here. I've tried to do that in the past, like I've gouged my hand, but yeah, it's still much better than an injury on a power tool. So sometimes I work on these projects with using hand tools, and my my son, who is like right now 5 years old, even like 1 year ago, he used to join me, just watch me do it, play around with some rasp and something under my eyes, of course. They're still tools. I could never do that with power tools. I barely use any power tools other than my bandsaw these days. Now this is out. Okay, so now my dovetails are almost ready. I just have to clean up the fuzzy bits a bit. So I just use the knife wall as the registration. Let me see. I'm happy with that. This side. To the best of my ability, I'm just trying to keep it as much parallel as possible. And I'm all now the centerpiece also. Normally, like what happens, there is a usually a hump, little bit of hump in the middle. I will try to clean that up. Good practice, I want to develop the good practice. I don't want to undercut, even though that will work fine, but as a habit I want to keep it level. So again, I use the knife wall as the registration. I don't think there is that big a hump this time, so I did pretty good. I'm not intentionally trying to undercut. Just I'm trying to see my knife wall. Yeah, because I have done the chopping starting from that knife wall, definitely the edges will be all accurate. Okay, so now my dovetails are done. Now time for the pins. This is side C. So what I will do is I'll bring up my plane. So this is my number 4. I was trying to restore it and I broke the tote. And this is one I have made by hand. Again, like Paul Sellers and Wood by Right. Those are the 2 instructions I followed. This is not the perfect. It's a little bit bulkier, but it works perfectly for me, and I'm so happy that I made it. Okay, what are they doing? So here I keep it flush. Okay, I'll move it back. So in the early days, what I used to think or what used to do was that I used to make sure that these things are dovetails and this end is flush. But what I have learned recently is that I should be concentrating on these end pieces, shoulders at least. Like there should be no gap there. So even if this protrudes slightly, that's okay. So that's what I'm trying to do now. No light. Okay. Now I just take this to just see like whether I am. Oops. See on this side. I think I'm doing okay. Okay, this is better, I think. Now, sharp pencil. Don't think this is the sharpest. I'll leave it here. I will quickly get this thing sharpened and come back. Sorry, I have a wall mounted sharpener. So on hardwoods, I use a knife, but for softwood, this is just fine. Pencil works better or just fine. Okay. Now again, I use my dovetail template. This is the 90-degree part. I'll bring this. This is just for to help me when I'm sawing, so that I am doing it vertical. This will be the reference for me. And let me mark. This time I'm cutting off the center pieces so that I don't mess it up. And I don't mark on the other side because I can't see it while sawing. In my initial days, I used to mark because like I want to see like how accurate I am while I am sawing, but that's really not needed. Rag in a can oiler. Thanks, Paul. Um, Waist side of the line. I want to be able to see the pencil line. I don't want to be like cutting like 16th or 8th of an inch. Then I would have to use the chisel for pair cutting. I don't want to do that. I want to shoot for like my dovetail joint to be fitting right off the saw. That's my goal. Doesn't work always. With experience it will work, but that's what I'm shooting for. So on the waist side of the line, straight cut. Now the vertical. I didn't like that. It jumped off. Okay. Now the other two sides. My main pencil mark is on the top, obviously, because I use the dovetails to mark those. These are the reference lines. I use those to make sure that I am parallel to this so that I am vertical, but to make sure that I am on the waist side of the line, this is the top portion is the reference. So now I bring this in. Again, I just see like which way it goes. B, C, so this way. Now I will use this to mark it with my marking knife. This is the reference face, reference edge. I take the combination square, feel it flush. Happy with that. Now, first light pass, heavier. That should be enough, but one more pass, little even heavier. And then I put a small nick at the end. I'll transfer this to the other side because I don't want to mark here. Now I again missed the reference edge because this was my triangle mark. I need to be good with my symbols. So the other side is the reference. No, this side is. So let's see. First pass is always light, heavier, heavy. I'm pretty sure this is okay. Now I just have to chop these two pieces just like I did on the center of the two dovetails. I can take a wider chisel for this. Let me use my 1-inch chisel. I have it. I have it here. I can use the hammer here, but I have more control, more sensitive if I use it this way. Can I go with the 1-inch chisel on the other side? Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Just fits in, so let me see. Maybe I should use the 3/4. This works just fine. Just click that out of the way. Now the chopping, same thing. The first one I try just a hair away. Now I will go right up against my knife wall. I don't go too hard. Same on this side. So after my first few dovetails, I have started to get like decent accuracy, but I have still faltered a few occasions, and every time when I go back and see, it's because I am losing my patience, or I was just too lazy to go and sharpen my tools. We should not delay sharpening of our tools. There is a difference there, like being obsessed over sharpening to get that pristine edge with micro bevels and all those things, versus like having good sharp tool and building a practice so that you can immediately go to your sharpening station, do the quick work. So I have the jigs, but I always do like 90% of the time I've done freehand sharpening. Okay. It's good to start with a honing guide or something, even if you want to do freehand sharpening, because that will at least during the initial days it gave me an idea of what a sharp tool could be, a feel of the angle and all, basic understanding. But then you just have to build the confidence and jump into freehand sharpening. It's not that complicated, especially chisels. I think I feel like it's like a forgiving, and we can do that. Of course, narrower the chisel and all, like you need to have more balance and all. I'm going slightly heavier because I have a little bit of depth there, but not like too heavy. I'm in no hurry to get this out of my way. That will happen. And I'm like chopping straight. I'm not compensating for the angles because don't have that depth yet. Maybe like after one chop or two chops, I will think about that, or I have to compensate for the angle. I'll go with the 3/4 inch chisel on this side because I feel like I'm not able to like wiggle this thing. I may damage the pins. Now, now I will try to compensate for the angle, rake of the dovetail a little bit when I'm chopping at the edges. Excuse me. This side I just can go straight. This is the smaller side or the narrowed side of the. I could use the hammer instead of like using my chisel, just my hand here. But this is just works better for me. If it was hardwood, probably I will use the hammer. That also works just fine. I'm not trying too hard to do this and lift it. I do a little bit. If it splits, it's okay. Otherwise, I just leave it. Or I just flick of my finger. Sometimes it comes out. Or it will just come out when I do the next chop. Okay. Let's see how many. Maybe this will come in this. Keep the bench clean. That will dent the wood. I think there is a chance this will come out in this chop, but I'm not forcing that. I felt a little bit of like weakness there. Just resisting. I don't want to pound on it and break it off. That's fine. This is going to come out definitely in the next one. Let's see now. I'm sure this is going to break off this time. I could already feel it like breaking, so this is it. Choking up on the chisel. See, both came out. Yeah, I could see a little bit of hump on one side, which usually happens for me. So add that. Now register against the knife wall, not trying to undercut, but trying to my best to keep it level. Try to use the slicing motion and choke up on the chisel so that I don't shoot it over it, and that will break out from the other end. I don't want that. This looks fine. I'm telling about sharp chisels, but I think both these chisels, after this joint, I'm going to go to the sharpening station and work on sharpening this, because they could be sharper. And sometimes you feel like this has worked fine for me, but if I have a sharper chisel, I see even cleaner it's not impacting this joint at all, but I'm just saying I can feel it. Now the time for testing. So where is my dovetail? So here, put it in here to feel for it, like how it feels. See, there is some like cleanup to do on this one, so I don't know whether I'll just choke up on the chisel and try to do it. And one more thing that we normally do, or I learned from Paul Sellers, is that right on the inner side, inner corner, not on the outer side, and not on the ends. Just like I take small shavings like this. It gives it a start. It helps it slide down and reduces the chances of anything like splitting or anything like that. I think I have to do a cleanup on this one. So there is a hump at the end. Let me do that first. Yeah. I'll feel better about that. see how it goes. I want this to go, but I don't want to force this in. I just press it in and try to wiggle it. I want it to get a start at least. Seems to be. Did it go in? If I show you, it seems to be going in, but I like the quality of the joint till now. Just feel something like I need it to be tight, but not too tight that it breaks off. So I'm not trying to pound it right away. Just putting not my body weight, but just this way or this way, and I'm trying to wiggle it in to see how it goes. It does go in. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Now I can let me use the soft side. I'm trying to feel for the sound. If it is continuous like heavy sound, dub dub, something wrong. I think it's a very good joint. I am very happy with it. No gaps here, no gaps. You can easily clamp it out. The shoulder lines, I don't see any gaps. Came out pretty good. Yeah, a little bit of gap. I think once I clamp it in, it will be very good. So this is very nice. Little bit of planing and all. So I already have one joint here, two more joints, and I will have this box, and then we'll work on the lid and the base, rounding off the edges. It's a fun project. Okay.